Ooh, it feels good, guys. Finally playing a broken build, and damn, it really does feel pretty damn good. As much as I love my lore appropriate builds, I really wanted to try this classic, 3 attack that's confirmed by Larian now. We can finally know that it's not a bug, it's confirmed. 5 lock, 5 martial, 3 attacks, baby, they do stack. So I want to try this Lockadin build, this Oathbreaker variant. A lot of people call it the Death Knight. I don't really think it's more of a Death Knight build, but hey, anyway, it slaps. So the build has core mechanisms, and I'm going to list them here. The biggest one is going to be Charisma scaling for all our damage. We're going to be able to use Charisma to actually scale our melee attacks, as well as having the capability to be an Eldritch Blaster from range. We're going to get Big Daddy Smites because we are going to get pretty decently high level spells, able to incorporate some big smite damage. We get that coveted Darkness and Devil Sight combo where we could just cast Darkness on ourselves in a big AoE, dominate everybody inside while we're able to see with absolutely no problem, and then range attacks won't be able to attack us either. And then of course, we get all those awesome Warlock spells. As you know, Warlocks get some of the best spells in the games, guys. So due to Pact of the Blade, we're going to generate 3 attacks, and again, it's confirmed by Larian. It's not a bug, it's confirmed. It is working as intended. Hell yeah, right? So here's the ability points breakdown if you want to go Paladin in the early levels, as we are going to be strength based for damage. You can change the con to be charisma focused if you don't care too much. If you start the early game as a Warlock, 100% take Eldritch Blast, other one's personal preference. We go Great Old One, and Hex is an incredible concentration. It only uses 1 spell slot, you can constantly refresh it, and Armor of a Gate, this is incredible. The Warlock ability points breakdown can look something like this. It really depends. If you want to be charisma focused, you can still be a strength melee oriented and be primarily in melee as a Warlock, even using Armor of a Gate this to be as your tank mechanism. But I think just going as an Eldritch Blaster, being range using spells, if you want to go that way early, is a better option. For the Oath, it's personal preference. We're going to break it anyway, so just go with every option you want. Now, for my variant, we are going to be sword and board, so we are going to use dueling, but honestly, every single one here is very good. 1 AC is good. Even protection's very good if you want to be the more tank paladin that protects your allies and in a more melee-oriented group. Very good. And of course, great weapon fighting is going to increase your average damage, helping those re-rolling those 1 and 2s. I'm not going to go too deep into spells. Just know that we are very overloaded, while Paladin is super overloaded on our concentration. So if you want to use your concentration on Shield of Faith instead of Hex, you can do that. But just know that be careful when you do use certain smites, Searing and Wrathful, the psychic damage variant. You will lose your concentration spell, that Shield Bless, Shield of Faith, or Hex. Thunderous Smite is incredible because it allows you to actually use smites, especially with Divine Smite, without breaking concentration. But again, overall, all the spells are personal preference, guys. Just be aware about that whole concentration factor. So in this case, we are going to be a Paladin early. If you go this route, you can use your ASI to get to 18 strength to get to that next bracket. At this point, you're not level 5. There's no reason to invest wholly into Charisma. At this point, at level 4 and 5 in Act 1, you will have the helmet that will give you Arcane Synergy. So you can start double dipping, not triple dipping. Until you don't triple dip until you get a 7-5 Paladin Warlock. So in the meantime, in the early game, we can still invest in strength. And whether you're going dueling, great weapon fighting, two-hander, sword and board, use the appropriate ASI on strength because that'll increase your damage and mode. If you are a dex-based finesse weapon, if you want to use a rapier or something like that, you can do that if you want to. But overall, we're gonna have to use this on 1 feat. In the ideal world, we will get we'll start at 17 charisma in the Warlock variant that I showed you. We'll get +1 from Hex here. Then we'll get +2 from an ASI, getting to 20. Then we'll get another +2 in Act 3 from Birthright the helmet. Make sure to do that before Loricon. Before you do the Loricon account, or else it leaves the shop if the Tiefling takes over. And then the last +2 will be from Shar's Mirror of Loss. At level 5, you get your big power spike. Whether you're Warlock or Paladin, either or, you're still going to get 2 attacks, so it's very good. I actually do like taking Magic Weapon in the early game, using this as my concentration. It just helps getting that damage, and if you are the two-handed variant, then you do help offset that Great Weapon Master. When you do go to Warlock, you're going to want to go Agonizing Blast to add that Charisma modifier to your cantrip damage for the Eldritch Blast. And then we're going to go Devil Sight because it's just too damn good from an AoE control standpoint from a melee superiority standpoint, and really from, as much as I don't think, you know, a 7 Paladin, 5 Warlock is much of a Death Knight. I like my other lore appropriate Death Knight builds better than this when it comes to being a Death Knight build. But again, for just a Lockadin, you know, this hybrid variant, these are really the best 2 invocations to go. So at this point, we're level 8. You do go Pact of the Blade, but there's no point to really use it unless you will respec your charisma to be your primary attribute. At this point, you can respec, drop that strength focus, and go into full charisma. So you can start now double dipping from charisma. It will be better unless you're using elixir abuse early. But if you are going levels 1 to 5, pure Warlock in Act 1, early Act 2, then you would just do this off the bat because you already be charisma focused. But just remember, when you do, if you do go Paladin first for the heavy armor proficiency and you get to level 8 in this route, just make sure that you respec for charisma focused. Now for our second feat, this isn't a pure smite build, but again, smite and savage attacker have incredibly synergistic value. When you're smiting, savage attacker has a lot more value as you increase the spell level and you increase the dies. Every die having a chance to reroll is going to increase your average value. Savage attacker becomes more valuable in this situation. This is for a sword and board. If you are going to go the two-hander variant, then you would 100% just go Great Weapon Master. This is just better anyway, honestly. 3 attacks. Again, you're going to have on average 31 damage if you get to 24 charisma. Plus this flat modifier, every attack will do 31 flat damage without other additional damage die from gear and stuff like that. That's from Aura of Hate in the endgame variant. Aura of Hate, your actual Pact of the Blade charisma, and then again your arcane synergy from the helmet. But for me, since we are sword and board and I love to smite, and I like my smites to be very, very big damage, we're not going to Tempest subclass variant. We can't max out our, we can't use a Divinity Charge, a Channel Oath, to max out the lightning damage with Thunderous Smite. But, you know, it's still good Savage Attacker. You do not have to go this. There's so many other good options. There's Warcaster. There's another ASI, even if you want to. You can go Alert. You can go Heavy Armor Master if you want to be more tanky. Sentinel, Shield Master. You have a lot of options. It's up to you guys, and it comes to personal preference with this second feat. One note is that if you're not able, let's say you're already in Act 3 and you want to respec to this build and you do not have the ability, obviously, to go back to the hacks here, you messed up with the Mirror of Laws, and you missed out Birthright, which is actually all 3 things I messed up with on this playthrough, then you can just go another ASI to get from that 18 charisma to 20. That works too. For level 5 Warlock, there really is, I mean, you do have a choice. You can go Counterspell if you want to, but Hunger of Hadar is such an incredible, not only is such a visually satisfying spell, but it's also a very, very good spell. It is a concentration, but again, it's just very, very, very good AoE control and actual damage too. The Eldritch Invocation here, it's really personal preference. Doesn't really matter what you go. But I like going Repelling Blast just for the utility if you do need it here and there. You can always toggle this on and off, just know that. And at level 10 now, you get 3 attacks. Huge power spike thanks to Deep Impact. Whether you go Warlock or Paladin, you're going to end up at the same point, break point, where you're going to get 3 attacks at level 10. And then you end the build going the rest of your levels into Paladin. We go 7 Paladin, 5 Warlock, and it doesn't show here because I have not broken the oath yet. But you would get Aura of Hate, which is going to give you another scaling charisma modifier to your attacks. It also benefits your party undead, which is very good. So if you have a Necro Summoner, a Summoner Necromancer in the party, now they benefit too. It becomes very, very, very good. Just remember that in this scenario, I did not respec properly. So you would go you'd be full charisma 100% at this point. So real quick for gear, the only really core is a Diadem of Arcane Synergy. Whenever you can inflict a condition, and you get condition in so many different easy ways, guy. Like, honestly, like if you go before a fight and you weapon pact, you just inflict a condition, then you go into turn base and then you start to fight. Like, it's just, and then this is just completely reusable, guys. You see that you can keep doing it. So getting a condition, you know, it's too easy. And when you're in the fights, you do a smite or something, or hex, necrotic, like you get these concentrations, whether on an enemy or yourself, you're gonna get the condition. It's up 100% of the time, guys. It's very easy to use, and you know, you get it early Act 1. It's just so nice. It enables you to go that charisma route. If you go Warlock early, now you have range potential as well as incredible melee potential, getting that level 5 power spike with 2 attacks. Now I'm going to go over the rest of the gear. Again, the only core is the helmet. Everything else is personal preference. I don't like going too in depth because really what happens is that whatever best gear is available throughout the game, you're going to use and put on, especially if this is your main character. The one thing to note is that when it comes to gear that adds die roll, I normally prefer things that just add flat damage. We don't really scale, because in this case, I have the 20 charisma. I missed out on the 3 factors that would get me 24 charisma. I have 2 ASIs. I do not have Savage Attacker right now, so I just like getting flat bonuses as I don't really scale with feats or anything using additional die. Now for the weapon, again, I want it to be a little bit more unique. I will get very in-depth when it comes to two-hander versus one-hander sword and board, but for me, I saw this weapon in Act 3 from a vendor, and I'm like, damn, that's awesome. This is like the Thor hammer, and plus, when you think about paladins, you know, their most iconic weapon in fantasy is almost always like a great hammer. Like they smash, the one ability, the concussive smash, I believe it is, where like they leap in the air and they smash down in an earthquake fashion with the hammer. It's so cool. There's not a lot of great hammers in the game. This is probably the best one. The fact that it kind of is like a Thor hammer, we get Thunderous Smite, we get the lightning damage here. It's a little bit thematic, and me, I like the roleplay element, so this gets me engrossed into the game. The reason why I'm using this at a one-hander is because in a one-hander, it's a 1d8. In a two-hander, it's a 1d10. So it's kind of like there's really no point to go two-hander. I'd rather have the 2 to 3 AC with the utility from a shield than extra 2D on the high end of the roll, right? As we packed weapon, we get an additional +1. So even though this is a blue weapon, think of it as a purple weapon, a very rare, because we do get the additional +1. We get another 1d6. We get the flat damage for the attack rolls. It's very good. Just don't forget to actually enable it with the pack weapon, guys. But that's why I go sword and board, the lore, the thematics, the lightning, and you know me, guys. That's what it's all about. So real quick gameplay, just so you get a visualization of how to really pilot this build. It's not complicated. If I'm ever gonna go predetermined into a fight, just always bind pack weapon again. It's not hard. You just do it real quick. You get you 2 turns that way. And then when it comes to actually casting darkness, just remember this is your concentration. So in order to maintain it, you have to maintain concentration, right? Don't cast darkness and then start hexing things or stuff like that in the fight. But I'll just start it out real quick. I think the AI will derp around a little bit, move a little bit, but yeah. So you see that. We'll smite here. Ooh. And we attack him, right? So this is not a good spot because they're not blind. The darkness is not on them. I'm in the darkness, but oh, that got broken anyway. So when it comes to melee damage, the way this is working is that I do not have the ideal setup with a 24 charisma, or else I would get a +7 3 times. So I only have 20. I only have a +5 proficiency bonus. Do remember, after your long or short rest, whatever, make sure Aura of Hate is up and make sure Aura of Protection. You actually have to cast these as spells, and then you get them as the modifiers, right? So from Aura of Hate, from the helmet, you see that we have the condition already. When we smite or do darkness or stuff like that, we're going to have a condition. It's pretty much automatic throughout fights. You don't have to worry too much. Now, because I already lost the concentration, I'll just bonus action hex my next target. I normally like to do, where is it? Constitution, because the great other one, when you crit, I get counter spread anyway, but when you crit, it actually has a chance to frighten, which is very good. And plus, it's just a bonus action. It doesn't really hurt you. We're not Great Weapon Master. We don't have other factors that we utilize bonus actions, right? The one thing to do know is that some of the hex, some of the smites, Thunderous, Wrathful, and Searing, they actually do need a bonus action to work. But you still have Divine Smite if you want. You don't really need to cast a level 2 here. It's completely unnecessary, but you know, I do it for the style points. This fresh enemy, I'll do it. And you see, even with the +5, it always bugs out like that. Even with the +5, you have, yeah, you see the sound is bugged. I hate when it does that. But even with the +5, it's still very good. We triple dip from it. So we get +5 3 times. That's flat damage. In the ideal world, we'd have the 7 from the 24 charisma. So you're going to do 21 damage minimum every melee attack. If you are not sword and board like I am, and you are the better variant, which is a great weapon, a great sword, or great axe, whatever you want to roleplay and use, that will be much better because now you have another flat 10. You're doing 31 damage minimum plus whatever the weapon is. So if it's a great sword, plus the 2d6, You know, plus if you had gloves, like my gloves are the army, so +2 flat. If you have the Aster Ring, another +2 flat. So in that case, right, let's say I'm a great weapon. I have 31 from Charisma, triple dipping. Then I have a 2d6 Greatsword. Then I have 1d6 Fire from the Helldust Gloves. And then another 2 flat from the Acid Ring. You see that it gets like kind of ridiculous where now I'm guaranteed to do over 100 damage every round without haste. You're hasted, now you're doing 200 damage a turn, right? Or 200 damage a round, whatever you want to say. So it is very, very incredible. And that's pretty much it, guys. Just know, again, with the darkness, be careful how you actually use it. Like, this build is so I don't want to say broken, because I think the only really broken build in the game is the monk build, where it's just you just abuse all the items. And it's not even that the build is broken, it's like the items are just broken, right? But that's pretty much it. We get all these actions and stuff like that. I can't reach it, but you know, that's it, guys. You just absolutely destroy everything. Like, this is one of the rare fights. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe like 8 enemies, 7, 8 enemies here, 1 in there. But you just absolutely dominate it, right? Like, if you actually really abuse it and just use Darkness, Devil Slike properly, not like I did, and you absolutely dominate it. It doesn't take a lot to like learn how to pilot this build. It's just very, very incredible. Now, I am using the Lightning Hammer, and you're probably thinking, oh, you mentioned Thor and a Lightning build. This really is not the most Thor Lightning build. That would be a Paladin Tempest Cleric, because that way you could use your Channel Divinity, like, upcast to level 5 or 6, well, level 5 smites, and then you max out the Lightning or Thunder damage rolls, which is kind of crazy. And that is like the automatic, like, one-shot build with crits, right? You use the unlimited powers. But that's pretty much it, guys. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, let me know. And please like, comment, and subscribe. I really appreciate it. I apologize for, I think it's been 8 days now I haven't released a video. It's very difficult. I look at my analytics and they're like tanking, but unfortunately I worked 6 days in a row, so that sucked. But it is what it is. Hope you guys enjoy. Mozo and Negron Tech here. Have a good one.